to combine. There has to be enough energy, of course, but also they need to combine. But if the electromagnetic force was too high between the electron and the proton, then that could have maybe overtaken the process. I think that there was something like that, which this is why we get heavier nuclei. And if we didn't have heavier nuclei, then we wouldn't be here, right? Because the Big Bang made hydrogen and a little bit of helium, but it's really the overdensities that formed in the universe, which then gave us galaxies and stars. The stars combine helium to give us heavier elements, such as carbon, oxygen, etc. Every element heavier than helium pretty much has to be made in stars. So the nuclear processes in stars give us those heavier elements. And then when the stars die and explode, that material is spewed into the interstellar medium, which can form like gas clouds and stuff like that. And those can condensate and make the next generation of stars and sometimes planets like we came to be. So it's really that process. But that process of stars and galaxies and whatnot, really what's going on is the nuclear process, right? It's the nuclear reactions that make those heavier elements that then lead to us being made of carbon, oxygen, etc. So life forms need those heavier elements. You can't make too much life form with just hydrogen, which is what the universe mainly has. Our universe, mainly most abundant element is still hydrogen, because that's what we got from the Big Bang. So yeah, this fine balance between the electric charge and the electromagnetic force winning sometimes, but not winning so much, where we then also can have strong nuclear force be a thing, is very important to our existence. We have to thank the strong nuclear force, okay? Okay, so we'll keep going for a bit. There are a number of objections that one can raise to the strong anthropic principle as an explanation of the observed state of the universe. First, in what sense can all these different universes be said to exist? Let me put my feet up on the media cabinet. That would be helpful. There, can you see me? Hopefully you can. We should... First, in what sense can all these different universes be said to exist? If they are really separate from each other, what happens in another universe can have no observable consequences in our own universe. We should therefore use the principle of economy and cut them out of the theory. If, on the other hand, they are just different regions of a single universe, the laws of science would have to be the same in each region, because otherwise one could not move continuously from one region to another. In this case, the only difference between the regions would be their initial configurations, and so the strong anthropic principle would reduce to the weak one. A second objection to the strong anthropic principle is that it runs against the tide of the whole history of science. We have developed from the geocentric cosmologies of Ptolemy and his forebears through the heliocentric cosmology of Copernicus and Galileo. Hello, Ram Candy. Hi, Ram Candy. How are you? Can you see me okay? The modern picture in which the Earth is a medium-sized planet orbiting around an average star in the outer suburbs of an ordinary spiral galaxy. So we are in an outer suburb, as you might know, which is itself only one of about a million galaxies in the observable universe. Yet the strong anthropic principle would claim that this whole vast construction exists simply for our sake. This is very hard to believe. Our solar system is certainly a prerequisite for our existence, and one might extend this to the whole of our galaxy to allow for an earlier generation of stars that created the heavier elements, but there does not seem to be any need for all